Was it porn? Were you pulling up porn?
No, that was Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday's porn day. I forgot. Sorry. Speaking
Yeah,
of porn days, comes naturally. We are.
Joe.
I am Cody. We ain't joined by shit. It's just Joe and Cody today. It's the Joe and Cody show. Nobody was going to bring up about Tuesday. What do you think of the pop-up experience at Mooby's?
So it was definitely interesting. My brother and I had a 7:30 7 o'clock appointment for ours. I don't know what I was really expecting. I guess I was expecting a little bit more
Me too.
than what was there. I honestly, for some reason, I was expecting wow.
Sorry.
Not at all. I guess I was expecting more like of a dressed up fast food type looking place.
Yeah.
Something that would actually look like a Mooby's
Restaurants?
fast food restaurant. And it wasn't anything like that. It was just basically, you had the two blow up Jay and Silent Bob. Well, no, it wasn't Jay and Silent Bob. It was
Blunt Man and Chronic.
Blunt Man and Chronic. That's what it was. Out front. They had the registers that were dressed up like movies, and the actual employees were dressed in the movies.
Fun employees, sir. Fun employees.
Fun employees, is that what they're called?
Yep, fun employees.
Didn't realize that at all.
Because it's fun to be employed there.
Beyond that, there was just nothing else there. They had some stuff hanging up on the walls, posters and signed things and stuff that you can take pictures in front of and whatnot. But that was pretty much it. So I was a little bit disappointed in that. The food was exactly what I had expected, because I was expecting like a fast food type burger. So to me, I don't think it was any better than McDonald's or anything like that. But at the same time, my brother and I didn't eat there. We went home. So like 15, 20-minute drive home with that stuff sitting. And you can tell it wasn't hot to begin with. So it wasn't just like freshly made. They made it for like that hour's group ahead of time type of thing. But the one thing that was pretty cool was the merchandise stuff. They allowed you to purchase some things beforehand, and they were constantly adding stuff to that website to where you purchased the tickets initially. But my brother had been looking for that Nails cigarette lighter, for a while, because they initially sold it on the Secret Stash.
Yeah.
And then Kevin has been moving a lot of stuff to not only a new place in Jersey, but also to a new website. And suddenly that lighter just up and disappeared in December. And the reason why he didn't buy it before that is because apparently there was like $10 shipping. So it's like a $30 lighter and then $10 to ship it. So if he was buying more stuff, it would make more sense. But just $10 to ship a lighter didn't make a whole lot of sense. But then it went and just disappeared off the website. And so he was lamenting about how he wasn't able to get that lighter, and it was going for like $100 and something on eBay. Well, lo and behold, we get there, and we're waiting in line to let them know, who you are to get your meal. And I look over at the table, and I'm like, dude, Adam, the lighter's there. It's right there on the table. So we walk over, we check in, we walk over to the table, and Adam's like, I want that lighter and that Dogma poster over there, which happened to be the last Dogma poster.
Nice.
And we were talking to the guy, and I don't know if you talked to him a little bit. Apparently, they weren't even expecting to get those lighters. Apparently, Kevin just found a box while they were moving and just sent the box over to the Mooby's experience to sell.
Okay.
So Adam bought one. I bought one. Adam bought his first, and it comes with a free weed rolling tray. I thought it'd be like maybe a Jay and Silent Bob branded one.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a raw branded one. So Exactly. Yeah. It's obviously it's a bigger version of that,
Yeah.
and it's not brown. Excuse me. It's like a forested
Yeah.
looking image. So it's cool, but it's not collectible for Kevin Smith or Jane Silent Bob type memorabilia. And then of course you got the little. Did you get a paper, a weed paper holder too?
No.
Yeah, we got. So he got the full size tray and a paper holder. I got one of the magnets,
Yeah. These
which
ones.
is weird because it's not necessarily a fridge magnet. It's actually one of those magnets that go in your shirt.
Yeah.
Which is funny to me. I didn't realize until we got home and I was looking at it.
Yeah, he called it a pin,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, I guess technically. It
And
is.
then I also got a free raw weed paper holder as well. So I'm pretty sure I'll probably just give that to Mike next time I see him.
What? That makes sense.
You can just have it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my nails lighter.
And you got the last one.
The last one.
Last one.
Yep. The guy's like, well, you get the last one, and took it off the table. I was like, well, good for me. I was actually telling Paige, I actually have the original pressing of one of these, or paintings of one of these, that I got years and years ago. Somewhere. I don't even know where it's at this point, in my, we'll say, well-organized collection of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I have one somewhere, but I was like, oh, this one's cool because it comes in a Zippo box, and I can put it up on, I can display it pretty easily because you can. The cool thing, if you don't know, Joe, you can do cool things like this where you put the lid down and it holds the box.
Yeah. And but I've seen the people make like actual display cases for Zippo lighters.
Yep.
So I think it'd be cool to get something like that. That actually got me started looking for, because I used to have. It was called the Elsa's lighter. It was a replica of the lighter from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So it was a Zippo with a white. It was a silver Zippo. It had a white background and then a green clover on it. You can still buy them everywhere. I just don't know what happened to mine. But apparently, I found out Zippo does make replica movie Zippos. They just don't have very many right now. And they don't. It was weird. They don't specifically say what movie they're for, which was weird. So they had like a.
Okay.
You would think that they would.
Yeah.
But they have this one. It's really ornate. It's $150, but in the description is like this lighter was used to was used in the movie to help hold back the forces of hell.
Constantine
versus taking Constantine. It was Constantine's lighter. So I thought that was fucking dope. It's $150. It's not quite movie accurate. It looks like, but it's
close enough.
Close enough. And that one's out of stock.
Of course.
Then they had another one that was a gold dragon, and I didn't get the reference to it. I don't know what a golden dragon one looked like. They had one with an American flag on it, and another one. And then just the classic silver one that you see,
everywhere
in various movies and whatnot. Yeah. But apparently so the Elsa's lighter is one that I have. So the whole end all be all of this was like, I started looking that up because I thought, that might be kind of a cool collection to have, like just movie replica Zippo lighters that you can display. Apparently the one that I bought, when I bought the Elsa's lighter, that was just like a fan made type one, somebody that just makes them for Indiana Jones cosplay and stuff like that. Apparently, they did make a replica one that was all white with the green clover on it, but they no longer sell it, which was weird. Yeah. Let's see if I can find that website.
The Zippo one?
Don't know how to type.
I'm on the Zippo one.
Oh, so you're looking at?
Yeah. I want to look at the Golden Dragon. I want to see what it was. It's called Dragon Design.
Yeah, so these are movie tribute lighters. So if you see the top image right there, the top image on that website, I think the back right one is a Bond, James Bond Zippo, I want to say. I don't know what the lightning bolt one is, but that's the Shamrock one is a is Elsa's lighter from Indiana Jones. It's just weird that it's not a silver Zippo. It's all white.
Huh.
The one in the center is a Constantine, and then I don't know what the American flag and that golden dragon one is. So if you click on it in the description, where does it say it? Escape from reality and deal your destiny a sucker punch when you unleash the fire within this sparkling golden dragon design on a brushed brass finish. The only thing I could think of was sucker punch, but I don't recall a Zippo in sucker punch at all.
There's a lighter. It's one of the things I had to get. But I'm trying to remember the dragon, though. Like, enhance. Dragon design.
I don't really see like a good picture, at least here.
Yeah, no, there. Yeah, it's supposed to be from Sucker Punch.
So it is Sucker Punch. Okay.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So you can see where they're kind of close replicas, but they're not exact.
Yeah.
The patriotic one, Good Morning. Good Morning Angels. The Street Chrome Windproof Lighter. So it must be Charlie's Angels.
Must be, yeah. Weird.
Yeah, weird. But the Constantine one is the funniest one. It's
Saint Benedict design.
Yeah, which at first, when I first saw it, I thought it was from the Boondock Saints, because I thought that was the saint that they pray to and whatnot in the Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
But no, antique brass finished lighter. This design was inspired by the Zippo lighter that had a silver screen roll as a tool to help stave off hell on Earth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's weird.
What is?
Just the random. I mean, it depends, I guess, what movies feature a Zippo lighter. But it's just weird that those are the Charlie's Angels, Constantine, Sucker Punch, Indiana Jones. You know, it's like these are pretty random ass fucking. You know, and then it has it was funny because they also have the classic brushed chrome one, and I'm like, doesn't this look like every Zippo knockoff lighter though?
But I think that's kind of the point. Like the Zippo lighter, even just the brushed chrome one is one of the most iconic lighters out there. So you see them in movies.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's the brushed chrome Zippo lighter from Die Hard.
It probably is.
What they use in Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you go over to the manufacturer makes MP5s, you can get a Die Hard MP5 as well.
Heckler and Koch.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's in the last, I mean, the last thing I got was the magnet set.
Okay. Yeah.
It's obviously the animated version. It's got J on the back, but it's got the Chihuahua, the boombox. It's got a bong, a beer in a can. I'm trying to see what else is in there. I mean, I see there's a half naked guy on the label, so I'm not too sure what that's about, but I'm guessing he's in there too. But yeah, they're pretty cool. And then the guy gave us two of the small raw rolling paper or rolling tray magnet thingies, magnet pens. So that was pretty cool. He's like, yeah, hey, they're a sponsor. Here you go. I was like, cool. He's like, yeah, take them. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, you want to buy anything? I was like, well, I do now.
Right.
Yeah, so about the last lighter, which I heard him say to a guy, and I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I have one somewhere. I don't know where it's at. And then so we went and ate out of the patio area, and then we went back in, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to buy it. So I bought it that, and I bought the magnet set, and of course he gave us those ones. And we got the purple lunchbox upgrade for the meal.
Uh-huh.
It's literally just a purple box, and the meal wasn't in it. So
yeah, they just gave you a paper bag.
Yeah.
For your meal.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, whatevs.
I will say that's another thing I was disappointed in real quick is that when I ordered, you paid like $4 for a drink. I thought you were getting a plastic cup. And no, you're getting paper cup, and it was small.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed in that.
Which is weird because then they were selling plastic Mooby cups. And I was like...
They were selling souvenir Mooby plastic Mooby cups at the table. So it was like, why wasn't that the cup?
Yeah.
I get it in kind of a one aspect where it's a paper cup. It's a cheap cup that you would get at a fast food restaurant, but for a collectible thing, I thought that's what I was getting.
Yeah, that's just weird to me. I was like, I said the same thing because when you said that on the messages, like no, like it was just a paper cup, and I was like, what's? I was in my brain thinking, oh, it's a paper cup that has Moobies printed on the side of it, whatever. Then I was like, it kind of sucks. And I got there and they hand us the drinks, and I was like, I mean, this is a nice paper cup,
right?
But for $4, I probably should have got one of those with drink in it, But
yeah.
I don't know, whatever. I was like, I don't know what to say about this. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I was like, all right, cool. It was an interesting thing. Like what you said. I was disappointed it didn't feel like you're walking into a Mooby's restaurant. Like the pictures I saw from before at one of the ones they did, I think it was in L.A., they made it look like you walked into a Mooby's, where here it was a folding table that was covered and had red registers on it that they didn't use unless you bought more food from them. And then the merch table, and then they had the table set upside with the cool pictures and stuff that you could see. It had the funny stuff, and there's this one poster. I don't think I took a picture of it. No, I did not take a picture of it. But it was a now hiring poster for Moobies.
Huh.
And it had a picture of a bored girl sitting at a register and a guy like sitting down like in his house eating a hamburger. And it says like miserable hours, better than Quick Stop, non-flexible hours, things like that. I was like that's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It was like essentially just going there to buy merch and seeing cool, and like the opportunity to buy a bunch of signed merchandise that wasn't actually that expensive for some of the stuff. Like there's the vinyls were signed, and they were like $30, and I was like, that's kind of the price of a vinyl, anyways.
Yeah,
they didn't have like the only size of the Mooby Fun Employee uniform they had was small. I would have liked to get another one of those. Because the one I have, we'll say, shrank in the wash, per se.
Okay.
But it was funny because I saw a guy wearing one that was there, like not one of the fun employees, but like guy was there doing the experience, and you can see he probably got his the same way I got mine, and he doesn't really fit in it, so it's open, and his arms are just fucking like pulling down the sleeves. I was like, that's why Cody didn't wear his. Because he'd look like the fat guy who can't button his shirt. And I'm not going to do that to myself. It was fun. It was cool. The food was actually slightly better than I thought it was going to be. The chicken sandwich was actually pretty good. But it was nothing like... It wasn't like a... I'm kind of glad I didn't order that $60 food kit from Goldbelly. Because that really would have made me feel bad. But it was like a better than... it was definitely a better... than like a McDonald's or a Burger King food, but it wasn't Culver's or like In-N-Out good.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. It was it wasn't like didn't taste like cardboard or anything like that. It was a good hamburger and a good cheeseburger, or a good cheeseburger and a good chicken sandwich. And the chicken sandwich is like slightly spicy in a way, like cayenne spicy. So that's pretty cool. The hater tots were pretty good. Tater tots. Onion rings were pretty standard. They tasted like Culver's onion rings.
They did. They actually, I mean, to be fair, everything held up pretty well. I was worried that because, like I said, we just picked up and left because it was already late at night. I didn't want to be there any later. So by the time I got home, I was worried that everything would just be a greasy, soggy mess. And to be honest, it wasn't. So it held up fairly well for a 15-20 minute drive back home.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
No. Did Mike and Jen get tickets?
I don't think they did. He didn't say anything about it. I think it's because Jen's been having so much medical issues lately with her like ribs or whatever. That she didn't. I don't think they could plan it well enough to be able to go. Touch and go with that stuff, that sort of stuff. Plus, like her not working or not knowing when she wasn't going to be working, when she was going to be working, it's hard for them to pick a day. And his schedule is so fucking random. Set all the time. But so I don't know if they're going to go, but it's pretty cool.
I think it ends this week. Did you get an email saying, "Hey, thanks for coming. Why don't you come back?"
Yeah. They're like, "Hey, we have a handful of open slots." I was like,
"No, I'm good."
Unless I just didn't have a friend that wanted to go, but like, also, I'm good. Like, it was cool, but whatever. I don't know. It was strange to me. So moving forward onto something else, Joseph.
Uh-oh.
I haven't watched it yet.
Uh-oh.
Well, I haven't watched the last episode or last two episodes. Last episode was today, right? Of The Stand? Was it tonight?
Yes, last episode was today.
Yeah.
Adam and I watched it.
So I am on 7. I rewatched them to catch up because again, Paige hadn't watched them. She missed like episode 2 and 4, I think.
Okay.
Anyways, so I rewatched those. I rewatched all of them the last couple days. So Monday, yesterday, and then I want to finish them tonight. We did start watching that Disappearance of the Cecil Hotel documentary that's on Netflix right now.
Jesus. Why is there so many documentaries of that thing all of a sudden?
Well, apparently, I mean, I don't know.
I watched to be fair, I haven't watched that one yet. I saw one commercial for it, and I thought, "Ooh, I need to watch that," because it's a ghost type, weird psychological thing. Zach, what's his name? Ghost Bro did an episode like last month or something about on it.
Oh, okay.
And, so I watched that, and he is. I don't really care for the Ghost Bros, Zach Bagels as we call him.
Bagels. So that's out. We watched the first 2 episodes just earlier before you and I sat down here to record this here podcast. It's very interesting. I didn't know. I knew a little bit about the Cecil Hotel, and I know a little bit about the story of Elisa
Lamb.
Elisa Lamb, yeah.
Which, to be fair, just to pause real quick and not even talk about the Elisa Lamb stuff, I'm surprised you don't know about it from the previous stuff, because like multiple serial killers have stayed there. One or two of them were actively killing at the time.
Yeah, the only thing, and I told Jen about this yesterday when we were talking. The only thing I knew, or was it yesterday? Whenever I was talking to Jen, the only thing I knew about it was I knew the Elisa Lam thing, and I know the Richard Ramirez thing, because the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, Night Stalker, that's where he was. So I knew those 2 things. I didn't know. I didn't know that it was smack dab in the middle of Skid Row. That's pretty gnarly. So I knew like conjoining stuff. I knew her story, but only about like where they found her and the fact that she like disappeared. I don't know why air quoted disappeared. She disappeared. And then I knew about the Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker thing, because I've seen and read stuff about Night Stalker stuff. And there's one other one, I can't think of his name right now, that was pretty big there too. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So like it was cool to watch that, and Paige was like, what the fuck? Because when we were in LA/Hollywood in October or in November for that Stranger Things event, we drove by it, and I said, "Oh, that's the Cecil Hotel. It's famous for having a bunch of shit go down at it." Again, because I don't know all of it. I now know, But I was like, that's where the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez was living when he was doing his killings. And she's like, why is it still here? I was like, well, because they don't tear anything down here.
No, not at all.
They just kind of put a fresh coat of paint on it, which is funny because that's what they talk about in this documentary, is how at one point they tried to make it a different hotel, but they couldn't, so they had to modify it to be partially a different hotel and the Cecil Hotel.
Okay.
So when you watch it, yeah, that's the thing. Is like I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. Because at one point because you find that out in the second episode, halfway through the first episode, or actually right at the end of the first episode, and then the beginning of the second one, I looked at Paige. I was like, yo, like they have not shown the modern front of this hotel at all. Then you find out why. It's because there's a second facade entrance to a second hotel that was there.
Okay.
And it's some shady ass shit going on there. And the people they have in this, there's two things. One is they have a bunch of cool people that do the interviews. So like the old manager of the hotel, the old handyman guy that worked there, the detectives that worked on the case, like real people involved with it, not just like people. Then they have something called web sleuths.
Okay, so people that are trying to solve murders and mysteries online.
Yeah, that's where this documentary actually got my interest the most, is these losers that are invested in this, that think they are going to do anything from their fucking keyboards by watching the same video that everyone else has. Now, mind you, there is some stuff that they talk about this that people have discovered on this video, that it's the same 4-minute video, and when you watch, you understand. But then it gets to this one guy who's like, he literally, so everyone gets a title, like their name, and then they have a title. Like one guy's a YouTuber, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Then it came up web sleuth. And I was like, wait, huh? What do you, okay, all right, no, I'm not going to judge you. Then he introduced himself as the guy who created the Lisa Lamb missing Facebook page, which is a Facebook community literally just of people that want to talk about her missing.
But she's not missing.
Well, at the time she was, because this literally happened
at the time she was
during this. And then they basically, as they break down and then eventually tell you what happened to her, which, by the way, you know what happened to her, right? Where they found her?
Yeah.
Okay.
They found her in the water tank.
Yeah. And the best part about it is there's news footage. So one of the other groups of people they're interviewing in this are these two English tourists that were there. And at first, because I knew Paige didn't know what happened to her, where they found her. Again, I don't know where air quotes found her. Where they found her. And then, so I didn't spoil that for her. I let her find out that for herself, and it was a pretty dramatic thing. But it was funny knowing that there was something they were doing in the video, in the actual like editing of it, where they kept showing the water tanks on the roof in like long shots. Like the camera would go up the side of the building and hold on the tanks. I was like, oh my! In my head, I'm thinking, wow, they were just blatantly telling you, if you don't know, you don't know. But if you do, you're like, oh, that's where she's at. But it's this couple from England who stayed there during it.
Yes, if let me get my thoughts here real quick. So they were also interviewed, if I recall right, in the Zach Ghost Adventures one.
Zach Babbitt.
They're relatively popular to interview, and they're explaining how they were just drinking water out of the tap, and just it started tasting weird. And that's when they sent somebody up to go check the tanks, and that's when they found her. And it's like, oh my God, for how many days? I can't remember. Have you been drinking that?
They've been there for 5 days.
5 days.
And by that point, by the time they found her, she'd been missing for 21 days.
Yeesh.
So, who knows when she got into the tank? But, and again, I'm not finished with it, so they may tell us with being able to test the water in her body, blah, blah, blah. But that means at least she was in there for almost 3 weeks, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And what really just, I don't know why it pissed me off so bad and made me hate these web sleuths so much, is they're so invested in this girl they don't know. The guy was like, I was so distraught, and I was like, I didn't know what to think. And I'm like, you don't know her. You're so invested in this, and you don't know her at all. And then it comes up with all these these word bubbles, like, you know, like, our hearts go out to you, blah blah blah. I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, it doesn't do her any good. She's dead as shit. Then this one guy comes up and was like, how could this be an accident? I was like, who said this was an accident? How is that your assumption? Is they're saying this is no one says this is an accident.
Well, I believe that the police determined that it was an accident. She was apparently on, not to really spoil much for you, apparently she had been on some medication to help her with some mental issues that she was having.
Yeah, she's bipolar.
She was bipolar. That's what it was. So at the time, they assumed that she wasn't taking the medication because she was on vacation by herself from Canada.
Yep.
And what it had turned out, they had found out that, again, not to hopefully spoil it for you, the maintenance people there weren't really, that great with locking the door up top. And there is a ladder, and at least which was morbidly funny, in the Ghost Adventures shoot, you could literally see a ladder just right there with the tanks.
Oh yeah.
So it's perfectly reasonable. The only weird thing is that they found her naked.
Yeah, and her clothes were in the tank.
It actually, so she had gone up there, gone up the ladder, got naked, jumped in, and somehow closed the tank behind her.
Yeah. So
that's why they ruled it suicide or accidental death, essentially, because of all of that.
Yeah, so it was, I don't know, it was those guys were pissing me off because they're like so invested in this thing. Like, I thought, it's like I knew her because I read her Tumblr posts. I was like,
but that's a bit much. That is way more than you should be getting invested in something that you're not there for. You're not actively on the crime scene investigating. You're just literally watching, like you said earlier, the same video that everybody else is watching.
Yeah, I was like, maybe next time leave these guys out of the documentary. Yeah? Okay, cool. I mean, there was, like I said, there's a little bit like when one of the YouTuber guy was talking about how this one, like, somebody noticed that the video was edited before it was released by the police, and it was like the same video that the police got from the Cecil Hotel. And when they pointed it out, I was like, oh yeah, I thought that too, because at one point the door just like jerks, like, is 1 minute open completely and then 6 inches closed. And I was like, obviously that looks like and they're talking about how like the time code is all fucked up in the video, and someone did that to abscond it because you can see it going faster and slower at certain points. And I was like, that's good and all, but still, what happened to her?
But little things like that don't.
Yeah, that ain't gonna help me.
Like, what are you trying to hide there? Because she herself was acting super fucking weird in those videos.
Yep.
And you see nothing else there.
Exactly.
So it'll be an interesting watch. What's it on, Netflix?
Or on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, Netflix.
Yeah, it's 4 1-hour episodes.
I didn't realize it was that long. I thought it would just be one documentary.
Yeah, no, because they do the history of the hotel, which is pretty cool because you get to like see like when it was built in 1924 and how it started off as this like well-to-do travelers hotel, and that was like in the bustling, ever expanding LA, blah blah blah, and then just went fucking straight down the shithole and ended up being in Skid Row because that's where LA is like, this is where we put all the crazy homeless people and drug addicts and ex-prisoners. This is where you can be homeless and do whatever you want. In which I knew what Skid Row was. I just didn't know the Cecil Hotel was slap dab in the middle of it. And then they talked about gentrification, and they're trying to like make downtown LA better. And I was like, well, they haven't done that, so spoiler alert, that hasn't happened yet. But it's so far it's a good documentary. It's just like, and I like the fact they didn't like the name of the documentary is still all about her, but they talk about all the other shit that's gone on there. Like,
right, because one big aspect of this hotel, one big aspect of people's theories of why she did what she did is that the hotel's haunted.
Yeah.
It's driven to it by some evil force. Yeah, so that's why a lot of these things, even obviously Ghost Adventures, that's what they're going to sit there and investigate, is possible hauntings of the place. So yeah, that's why a lot of these documentaries go over the past of it, because it's a really weird hotel that has a lot of weird past. Although, speaking of that now and thinking about it, there's got to be a lot of hotels like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like this is like saying that the Bermuda Triangle is a mysterious part of the ocean, and then finding out that no, the ocean actually has a lot more weird mysteries and deaths in it, more outside of the triangle than inside of the triangle.
Yeah.
So yeah, to sit there and say like there's this weird history of the Cecil Hotel, and it's very evil past, and it's like, well, I'm sure there's a lot of hotels that are like that just because of the nature of a hotel. You know, people check in, people sometimes mostly check out.
Mostly check out, yeah. It's still an 80-20 check in, check out thing.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, it was funny because before we started watching the page, was like, "Oh, it's haunted. We should stay there." I'm like, "Do you remember seeing it though?" She's like, "Oh, all the homeless people." I'm like, "Yeah." And then she started watching. She's like, "I don't want to stay there ever." I was like, "Yeah." So that's the thing. Like, no one wants to stay there. They just end up there, and it's bad news.
Was funny. I remember seeing in obviously again the Ghost Adventures episode, the lobby looked pretty nice.
Yeah.
But when they went up to the actual rooms, they were pretty, no thank you.
Yeah. There's some some very sneaky video of it. And it's at that point it's narrated by the English couple, but you can tell it's obviously newer video because it's way better video quality, but you could see it's real rough. And then they're talking about how they were walking and like their foot is like almost sticking to the carpet, and I was like, ew. But I'll say this though, that English couple does not paint themselves very well in this documentary.
No,
or in the footage they use that they use in this documentary of them on the news. They are morons.
Were they? I don't remember their actual interview with the news.
So she's talking to the news lady, and she's admitting that they were, using the water, and then it had a weird, sickly, sweet taste to it. And I was like, you're talking about drinking water that had a dead person in it.
Yeah.
Cool, all right. But then they're talking about, like, I guess we should have done more research before we just went to L.A. And I was like, yeah, because the package you chose didn't name the hotel you were staying in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, red flag. Red flag. You don't even know where you're staying until you get there? Don't go there. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Hotels.com.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I was like, you're dumb. You're real dumb.
Yeah, that's not the rightest thing ever.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, well. It was funny because, like, when you first get to them, and this is the last part I'll talk about it. When you first get to them, they show in the Cecil Hotel, and then they show like this snow-covered city that looks a lot like Chicago. And I was like, well, this is not L.A. And it's like Vancouver, Canada. I was like, okay, we're in Canada. Find out that's where she's from. She's from Canada. Okay, whatever. Then it goes and shows some sheep, and I was like, this isn't L.A. or I guess there could be sheep in Vancouver. I don't know. And it's all England. I was like, what the fuck are we doing in England? And then you find out it's the couple, the idiots that stayed there as well. I was like,
oh, they're setting them up to be more than a footnote?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, because they're interlaced in it quite a bit. They talk to him and they talk about their experience and stuff like that. And at least in the first two episodes, because at the end of the second episode, they're being shipped off to another hotel that the staff at the Cecil had to put them up in because they still had reservation time to go before their travel bundle package thingy or whatever was up. And I was like, you should have left a long time ago, because like they're saying like there's something wrong with the water, and they just give them another room. And I'm thinking, no, at this point you should be like, hey, I need to get the fuck out of here, because like my room look. And it's funny because the guy's like, it's like you stepped into the 1980s. I was like, first off, sir, that's not what hotels looked like in the 1980s. 1880s maybe, 1980s no sir, no sir at all. 1980s you didn't have electrical piping on the outside of the wall.
That's right.
I was like, nah, sir. That shit was in walls already. Holy shit. I was like, this guy an idiot. I was like, I would have seen that room, and I'm like, no.
I shouldn't have paid for whatever amount that I paid for that.
Yeah, he's like, there's dust on stuff. I was like, that should tell you something right there, dude. There's dust on things.
Means that no one's been in there in a long time, not even the cleaning staff.
Thank you. I was like, oh my God, you're so stupid. Anyhow, watch it. It's actually a really good documentary.
So the last thing I actually want to ask you is, how good is the documentary itself? Is it a type of documentary that I would compare to most documentaries where they lead you along, where they have a narrator and you have like an actual person that is interviewing people? You see that documentary guy interviewing people. Or is it more like you saw that Flat Earther one, right?
The which one?
The Flat Earther documentary?
I have not fully watched that one. I've only watched a couple clips from it.
Okay, so that documentary is mostly like, it's just the people that the documentary is about. It's just that they're driving the documentary. You don't see or hear any interviewer or anything really at any given time at all. So what type of documentary is it? How well is it presented?
It's presented extremely well, but it's done closer to a true crime documentary style, where like you don't hear the interviewer, but the people they're interviewing, it's definitely they're feeding a narrative, but not to their own narrative. You know what I mean? Like they're clearly being asked questions and they're retelling stories from their point of view and their experiences, but not like, oh, and I knew there was something wrong. It's not one of those. It's like, it literally is step by step, but instead of having a person going, so when you first got the case, what did you do? Like that sort of thing. It's them telling the story, and then it interjects with like the manager of the hotel, the handyman, and them, and this other couple, and then of course the YouTube people and things like that. So it's less of the interviewer person and less of a, hey, this is us making a documentary to tell you the earth be flat. But it's a lot like a lot of the more, like, you never watch the like the 60-minute ones?
Yeah, I used to watch 60 Minutes. There's
no, like, there's a narrator in a way, but it's not one that's interacting with the person.
Yeah,
it's
he's
like
just
that.
Kind of going over like there's B-roll or something going on. And he's just like kind of explaining bits and pieces of it until you get to the next connected thing. That's that person being interviewed.
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
Very well done so far.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You have to watch the Flat Earther one just because of how it is, in my mind, one of the best documentaries I've ever watched because of how well it's done.
Is it on? Is that the one?
It's the one on Netflix, if I recall right. I can't remember what the name of it is. But it's just one of those, it's so well done because it's basically like you have a film crew that these, and then they went to these people that are large within the Flat Earther community, and they're just like, we're just going to record you, just go. That's just what it feels like. There is, you can tell that there is an interviewer that's asking questions, but they don't have the questions, they just have the answers type thing. But it is so well put together, so well done that it just feels like the people that are being recorded are driving the story rather than somebody who is interviewing them driving the story. It's really well done. It is hilarious how weird some of these people are.
Yeah, I think I found it. Behind the Curve.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I think it's the one, because meet the growing worldwide community of the theorists who defend the belief that the Earth is flat while living in a society who vehemently rejects it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And the guy's wearing a shirt that says Flat Earth on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. You need to watch it. It is. I thought I'd be angry at it more than I ended up being angry at it, because of just how much hoops that these people jump through in order to justify their theories, and how even at one point there's a dude who is mic'd up in the middle of a party and forgets that he's mic'd up. He has to forget that he's mic'd up. And he's talking to a friend of his, so the camera is off in the distance, shooting at the guy. And the dude goes, "Yeah, man, that test didn't really go the way we thought it would go. If we let the results of that test out, it would be devastating for our cause." And it's like, did you forget that you're mic'd right now? What the fuck?
Oh, it's good times.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I just added to my Netflix queue. Yeah. So, question. Real quick. Flat Earth. One word or two?
You know what? I have no idea. I'm sure even that's controversial within the flat Earth community. I would imagine two. Flat Earth.
Right. Yeah. Like, the reason why I ask is that guy's shirt makes it one word. It's the design, but like I don't think he understands that design is supposed to be used as one word, not two words made into one word to fit in your. Anyways, and the best part is it's flat, so it kind of works out that way, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways, yeah, I've been wanting to watch that one. I think I watched. I say clip. I probably watched the trailer on YouTube and said, "Oh, it's something I want to watch," and I never went back and watched it because I'm real bad at that kind of thing.
Right. So am I. In fact, I only watched it because Matt kept suggesting that I watch it. I was really hesitant to watch it, like I said at first, because I thought it'd make me angry with how dumb some of these things are. But it's genuinely heartfelt at some points. It is really well done as a documentary, and it is pretty funny at some points. The only time, and I mentioned this as well, the only time that you actually hear the interviewer is towards the end of the show. The main guy that they've been following is gearing up for a convention that he's hosting one of the panels for. And the interviewer goes, "So what would you, if somebody gave you irrefutable proof that the Earth is round, would you accept that? And because you're such a large figure within the community," and he just suddenly has this 1,000-yard stare and just goes, "No, I don't think I could leave."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just because he has that realization of man, I really am dug into this.
I am way too deep.
Yeah.
Is that Mark K. Sargent guy?
Yes, Mark Sargent. Yes.
Isn't that the rocket guy, right?
No.
That's not the rocket guy?
No, he's not a rocket guy.
No, he's not the one that built the rocket?
No, that dude died in his last... I don't remember what his name was, but yeah, he was that guy who was trying to launch himself in a self-made rocket. A couple of years ago, they scrubbed the mission because it was too windy or something like that. And then a year or two ago, they tried it again, and it ended up killing him.
Good for him. Would not believe in what he's believing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's not the best way to do it, but, who am I to tell you how to live your life?
Yeah, here's another weird one because he kept saying that it's not science or something like that. The math and stuff behind it was not science. I don't know. It was really weird.
Wait, is that the same? Wait, are flat earthers the same people who don't believe science exists?
Some of them, yes.
Jesus Christ. I don't understand. I don't understand people. More and more, I just don't want to be involved with the human species every day of my life. But I digress. Last thing before we wrap this up, don't spoil nothing because I don't know why you're gonna spoil. Yeah, I know that has a different ending. What do you think of The Stand overall?
Overall, it's fantastic. The characters that they had play some of these roles, like the dude who plays, I never even looked it up. The dude who plays Randall Flagg, phenomenal. That dude is the perfect guy to play Randall Flagg.
That's Pennywise's older brother.
That's Alexander Skarsgård?
Yep. Alexander Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
Yep.
That last name is so close to Sarsgaard. I always forget. I always mix them up.
Yeah, their dad is in the Thor movies. He's the old guy that gets naked in the second one.
That's right. So he's absolutely fantastic. What's his name? Marsden? James Marsden?
James Marsden, or Cyclops. You can call him Cyclops, too.
Absolutely fantastic. Everybody, Whoopi Goldberg playing Mother Abigail, she's one of those actors that that's the role she was born to play, because it's just so fantastic in that role. The production value of this thing is so amazing. The fact that it's a weird thing to say. I didn't think that there'd be so much gratuitous nudity and stuff and violence and stuff in this show.
Yeah. As
there ended up actually being. So it holds really well to King's original book. There are a few things that I wish kind of played out a little bit longer in the book, or from the book. I know in the recent episode when Marsden gets back with Tom Collum, yeah. I just remember that being a bigger thing in the book, their journey back. They get back in the snow, and there's a lot more to it. Where in the show, it ends up being and they're back. And you're oh,
so there's no excursion to that mountain town where they get stuck in the snow and have to stay in the hotel and get their own power and all that fun stuff. Okay, interesting. Okay. It makes sense.
It's not to spoil things a little bit too for you. I'm not trying not to.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. There are little things here and there out there that I'm just I wish I would have gotten that. I remember something missing here, from the book. And I wish I would have gotten that. And I'm still, because I kept saying that myself, because they end the second episode, the second to last episode, in a different place than I thought that they would have ended it.
Okay.
And then when you get into the final episode, I'm okay, well, I remember them saying that they just changed the ending of the movie, and I kept looking for that, and I'm well, what did they change? It's relatively close to what it was in the book. If you changed something, I don't really remember it, and it has been a while since I've read the book. So maybe they did change a lot more than I remembered. It's fantastic. I love that the little references, because when you read Stephen King, music is such a big part of his books.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's a big part of his life, I would understand.
Yep.
To have a show that actually portrays that more accurately as it would be in the book is fantastic. And so you have the things that, towards the beginning of the series where
Larry.
I was thinking Henry, and I know that's not correct. Larry, it has that picture of Tom Cruise on his.
Oh, you're talking about Harold.
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 Has the picture of Tom Cruise, and he's just finger guns at it. And then each episode would end with a song that kind of tied up or was a theme of that episode. It was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think so far?
So far, it's really good. The only thing, and again, I'm not finished with it, so I don't know, but the only thing that there's two characters that I really wish they would have delved more into. Tom Collins one of them, and Nick Andros is the other one.
Yeah, and so that's another part that I lamented, that you didn't get that long sequence of those two, because wasn't there was like a tornado that they get trapped in at one point
Yeah.
in their story, and you don't get that in the show. And I didn't even really care for how they portrayed the show at the beginning of it, because they kept doing that like jumping back and forth in time thing,
Yeah.
where you literally started with everybody in Colorado, and then you jumped back in time before the plague, and it was like very disorienting at times to try and understand where these characters were and what they're doing at any given time.
Yeah, because it was weird. Because like at one point, like they're like if they're in a house and then they're in a different house. Then you realize, oh no, this is the past because that person's alive and they can't be alive because otherwise they'd be with him. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah. So it was it was very strange that way. The one, yeah. So the Tom Collum and Nick Andrews are two of my favorite characters from the book. So I was kind of disappointed the fact that you didn't really get to see them coming together in a way, like the way they should have. They did it a little differently, and I like what they did with Nick and the whole the guy who beat him up and put him in the hospital and damaged his eye. I just wish I really wish they could do this longer form where they could do multiple seasons, so they could stretch out and do like a whole episode per character, because there is so much to many of these characters that it would just really. I think it would have been. I understand why they had to cut it because of obviously pandemic and the fact that like you're trying to make this mini series, but I think they could have made it longer and used more of the book and expanded on some of them, just because there really is three parts to the book. There's the plague, there's the middle part, which is referred to, I think most people refer to as the stand, right? And then there's the last part. So I really think they could have stretched it out more than 9 episodes, but I understand kind of why they did. But so far I actually super enjoy it, and like I get zoned in on it and I forget that there's someone else in the room and I have to explain stuff to Paige, and then I'm like then she's like, you don't have to explain it to me, I'm paying attention. I'm like, fair enough. So yeah, I know I enjoy it. It's good, and I want to binge watch it, but also I know there's no more, so I was like 2 episodes at a time. Don't ruin it for it. Don't just waste it all. And it's not like I can't go back and rewatch it, but
But hold the feeling of the first time watch.
Yeah. Because I know there's not like with Stranger Things, I'll burn through a season because I know there's going to be more right down the road. But like with this, I know that's it. This is all that we have, and I was like, okay, I'll stick with this, I guess. So I don't know. It's interesting, but so far I enjoyed it a lot, and I think to your point, everyone I've seen so far is fantastic in the role. And it was funny because I didn't know who he was, other than the fact I knew who he was playing and what the actor's name was, because I've been keeping on top of who's in this for the last 2 years when I've been making it. But Nat Wolff, who plays name escapes me, Lloyd Henry.
Uh-huh.
I guess he's from the Naked Brothers band.
Okay.
That was on Nickelodeon or Disney or something like that. She's like, that's and at first she thought it was one of the other brothers, and I was like, well, his name is Wolf, but it's Nat Wolff. She goes, oh my god, that's him. I was like, what the fuck? I had to look it up. I was like, yeah, okay, Naked Brothers band, it's a thing. I was like, all right, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I am excited because I saw this next episode is when I get to meet Trash Can Man for the first time.
Which was another character that in the book felt like had so much more story to him.
Yeah, because
in the show he's just kind of like, oh yeah, there he is, and then he disappears, and then you're like, oh shit, he's back.
Yeah, so I was like, I kind of like we should have already seen backstory of him, because that's the other thing too, is we haven't got any backstory on really anybody other than Lloyd from Flag's side, really. Well, that and the as I call it, Shotgun Ballerina, but she was more in that flashback with
Nick
Tom and
Tom.
Yeah, with Nick and Tom. So I was like, well, I guess that
kind of counts as her backstory.
Yeah, in a
well.
way, she's a whore, and so it makes sense. But I was like, I kind of like there's a whole thing of like I can't remember the character's name, but it's the one that was the dude that was trapped in the car, and then Flag set the wolves on him, and then waited until he was like damn near on the end of his rope, and he's like, oh, I'll save you, but it's just, you obviously realize it's him making the wolves stay there. So there's little things like that. It's like, I really wish they would have just tried to make this longer than 9 episodes. I know it's a mini series, but you could have I don't want to say the word milk it, but you could have made it like 10 episodes, 3 seasons long. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I've always wanted somebody to take the chance on adapting books into movies and literally doing a almost literal translation of the book to a movie or to a show.
Yeah.
You can break it up into as many episodes as you want. Just make the whole entire story. Obviously, there are things that are going to change. You can't do inner monologues really, and you can't do narration, but you could do all the main points, show all the characters, show all their backstory and everything, and just don't care about how long it takes.
Yeah.
It takes as long as it takes in order to do.
And that's why I think I like The Outsider so much.
The Outsider? Yeah.
Yeah, because the book, I mean, it's literally, there are a few changes in it, but it's not enough. Like, there's not enough of them to go, oh, they did this, this, and this. It's literally an adaptation of the book, and like, we know, like, they were trying to make a second season of it, but I guess that kind of went down the drain. But it's like, in a way, that one doesn't need one. And I haven't read It Bleeds yet, which has the next story with what's her name in it?
Holly?
Yeah, Holly. Because she's in the Finders Keepers books, which they already made a show of, Mr. Mercedes, but she's played by a different actress, and it's, I mean, obviously that's the same character, but I just want them to do, like, all right, cool, you're not going to do a second season of this. How about we look at all these other things? This dude, Stephen King, I don't know if they know this guy, he's got a few other books you could easily tap into.
You know, 1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah, and you could, I mean, we've said this before with, like, the fucking, what was the one on Hulu? Not Castle Rock, the one with James Franco. The one James Franco.
What James Franco? Oh, 11/22, 11/26/69 or something.
Whatever that one is. That one.
Kennedy assassination. Yeah, what happened to that one?
It never came back.
So dumb.
Yeah, I know. It's like that thing is like
Castle Rock got canceled as well, which was so dumb.
Yeah, because Castle Rock was so good.
Right?
Like, I loved how, like, they, like, especially the second season, they did the whole, like, well, the first season did it too, but the second season did it really well, where it was essentially 2 very different Stephen King stories kind of interwound together, because you had Salem's Lot, and then you had Misery, but it was like its own, like, it was like a prequel to both. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, this is how it's going to happen, but, like, we're not there yet. You know, Castle Rock is integral to both of these, well, sort of both of these, because technically Misery does not take place in that area, but that's why she's there, because that's why
she's on the run, and then that explains her psychoticness as she leaves Castle Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a prequel to Misery.
And they're setting up a prequel to Salem's Lot with the whole, like, underground infrastructure and the house on the hill, and I was like, oh shit, like, that's Castle Rock, and, like, that's where this takes place. And, like, obviously the first season
prison right there.
Yeah, you know, I was like, oh, that's so good. Like, I don't know, whatever. I mean, whatever.
It was the show that was coming close enough to joining all of his properties together.
Yeah, it's like that linchpin.
As a if you don't know Stephen King books, he does have they do tie together in one way, shape, or form, whether it's being that weird Men in Black organization that they have, whether it's The Shining, whether it's The Gunslinger, they all tie together in some way, shape, or form.
Yep. Anyhow, I died. Did you see Steven's cameo?
In
The Stand?
I want to say yes, because I want to say I pointed it out to Adam.
I'll say this. He doesn't have a speaking role because it's just a picture.
No, then I don't remember. I could have swore I remember pointing it out and going, "Ooh, it's Stephen King right there."
So when Nick and Tom are running from Shotgun Ballerina, they hide at the bus stop.
Yes, and he's on the bus stop poster.
He's on, yeah,
I do remember that.
Yeah, for
that
Home of the Dead. Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh shit,
it's Stephen King.
He's Hemford Home. He's on the billboard for it. And Nick saw it. That's amazing. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for this week's episode, everybody. Comes after we have been
Joe.
I'm Cody. That ain't Taj. That ain't Mike. It's just us. That's it, everybody. As usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.